Hey guys, welcome back. This week, course evaluations come out, and those are an opportunity for students to evaluate you while you're teaching. Now, I've posted before about how course evaluations can be incredibly valuable and also can be incredibly biased in the past, so I'll link those videos below. But I wanted to add to that discussion today with this article that I found from Phil Simon. Phil Simon is a professor at ASU, and he wrote this great blog post that examined all of the data that he had from his version of his course evals. And he has this incredibly rich software system which allows him to have all these beautiful graphs and stuff, and it's a really interesting read because it's interesting to see somebody evaluate their teaching post hoc, right? And to be able to make comparisons over time. And I think that that's a great thing, that once you've been able to teach a class at least 2 or 3 times, you of course can start to see trends in what's happening to your evaluations over time. Now at Mount St. Mary's, we don't have quite the same software system that yields all the fancy graphs and such that he did, but we do have a fairly robust system that can allow you to check and see how you're doing in comparison to cohort groups or compared to other faculty at the university in general. Additionally, I think it's really important to look at stuff over time if you have that length of history here at the Mount. One of the things I wanted to share that I do is that I put in at the end of every year what my teaching evals scores are for every class that I taught. And I do this as just part of my CV, and it helps me keep track of all the courses I've taught, what semesters I taught them, and which courses I'm more experienced in, and so forth, right? And what it does is, because I've been able to do this every semester, is that I can see these same sort of trends that Phil Simon was talking about in his blog post. So I can see certain trends that show me that, for example, I'm rated more highly in spring than I am in fall in classes where the content is identical. So there's something about student cohorts that happen where I get students that mesh better or perform better under my courses in the spring. I don't know quite why else it could happen, although I'd love to hear feedback on what other people think it could be. Perhaps I'm happier in the spring. I don't know. The other insight that I have is that where I've had really small sample sizes, that is, the majority of students in the class did not take the eval. So perhaps I forgot to incentivize it in class, or I didn't really mention it. And what happens is you get effects that are very, very similar to Yelp, right? If you go on Yelp and there's only 3 reviews, 2 of them can be good, but if one of them's bad, of course your Yelp star system would go down, right? And you may pass over that restaurant. Similarly, on course evals, if you only have 4 students evaluate you, you have to hope that all 4 loved you in order to get the scores that you want, right? So take into consideration the size of your sample and realize that if you have a really small sample, your overall scores may be lower than you would like because of just one outlier. So those are some of the insights that I've been able to see over time, and I hope that you'll be willing to share some of the insights that you see in trends over time in your course evaluation scores too. If you want to share them publicly, comment down below. If not, shoot me an email, or we can grab some coffee and have some time to chat in a future point in time. Now, that being said, I want to just take a moment because I do want to alleviate any concern that people may have, especially if you're new. I always personally look at course evaluation scores in context of everything else that's going on. To provide you with some counterpoint, it turns out that the version of course evals have become, it turns out that in Canada, course evaluation scores can no longer be used for promotion or tenure decisions. They found out that it was illegal because they're so biased. I'll link to that article down below as well. So I think if you're new, there are things that you can do to try and make sure that you get accurate course evaluation scores, but be aware that there are biases and such, and that the people who are looking at your evaluations are well aware of those as well. So with that, I hope that you have a good week, and I will see you in the next. Have a good one. Bye.